Hey everyone, this is Jãcqûelyn. We've had some requests in our comments to see how I filled out the My Energy support for myself. So I'm really excited to share that with you and happy to do so. Um, First, I just want to make sure it's very clear. I will be sharing this, but this is not just for autistic people who can fill out this support on their own. Um, Autistic individuals at any developmental level or language level can benefit from this. So, if you're a parent or an educator or on someone's educational support team, the autistic individual, they may be able to contribute or be a part of the conversation. They may not be able to be a part of the conversation. All of that is okay as long as the person or people who are filling this out truly are able to identify how that person experiences certain states. So I just wanted to make that clear up front before I share my experience filling this out on my own. But I love this support. Why I love it, I think here we're leveling up because we're really changing the rules. This was really empowering and validating for me to fill out. It's the first time that people have requested of me, or I have been prompted to put forth and describe what it is I experience and how I experience it in my own words, rather than using these arbitrary words or labels or facial expressions or phrases to call what I'm experiencing for the sake of someone else. Because to be honest, I don't think I will ever have some internal energy state that I'm feeling and just be able to buy into the fact that someone said that that's anger, and so that's what I'm going to call it. So this was really powerful in that way for me, and that was the first thing that I noticed when I filled this out for myself. It feels more like people around me are invested in supporting me rather than intent upon changing me and forcing me into some mold. So that's powerful on its own. So I'll talk about my process a little bit. I'm not going to read through every word or phrase that I put in here, but I'll talk about how I went about filling this out. I personally did that what I feel or experience side first, this column, for each one of the different states. So I tried to include the most common things as well as a range. So for me, at this maxed out frenzied level, it's very common that I really cannot interact with people. I feel eruptive. I feel this real need to escape or to release energy. And at times I do that. I release energy in some way by some explosive force. But on the other end, I want to show the range. So sometimes when I'm at this maxed out frenzied state, it results in me sleeping for really long periods of time because it's an overwhelmed state. So you're really, really worked up. There's a lot of energy going, and sometimes that just results in a total crash and sleeping or a shutdown. So the maxed out frenzied state can really lead to meltdown or shutdown for me. So again, I'm trying to show a range, and I'm trying to make it physical, but also cognitive as well. So there's no thought processes going on. I'm not experiencing any kind of self-talk or images in my mind. It's really the world is caving in and going blurry, and I really don't have voluntary control of what I'm doing. It's very physical in this zone for me. So I did that side first because it's easier for me. And then it was a little more challenging, but I tried to think through on this what others see, hear, and observe side. What might it look like? Because this is especially important for me and for many autistic individuals, even though I'm feeling on the inside this huge buildup, this brimming on an eruption kind of feeling, on the outside, if I'm in a public space and people are around me, I'm probably smiling. My teeth may be gritted really tightly, but it will look like I'm smiling. For longer scale, when I'm feeling this way over longer periods of time and in the short term, I'll withdraw from any social situations or social engagements that I do keep up with. I'll cancel everything. I won't respond even in text message or writing. That's a very good sign for me. And I'm there, but I'm not really present. So I can be in places and feeling this way, but I'm very disconnected from what's going on in this situation. And then finally, importantly, for someone on the outside, I can't speak about what I'm feeling. There really are no thought processes going on at all when this is happening. So to have someone ask me, what's wrong? What are you feeling? What's going on? There's nothing I can produce to label it or to say. And most likely I'll say something like, nothing, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I'm just thinking. Or something like that to get people to stop asking that question because I can't answer it. So that was important for me to put. So that was my process going through. And I thought about each of these states. I think it can help if I scroll down to some of these other emotions here. I think it can help to do some of the extremes or some of the ones that you experience most often or most saliently for yourself first, and then kind of fill in the middle using those more extreme states as benchmarks for yourself. So that helped me too. But I started with what I feel. I moved on to what others see, hear, and observe. I think too, if you needed assistance, you might ask someone around you, hey, that last time I was feeling this way, you told me something about how I looked or how I appeared to you. Can you help me? What do you observe from the outside when I'm in this state? You might need outside input because you might not be as aware of or have ever thought about what others see, hear, and observe when you feel X, Y, or Z. So that was really a good process for me to think about these things. And in that note, thinking about what others might see, hear, or observe, this was probably also the first time I thought about that, and seeing the discrepancy with some of these, what am I feeling, and what others might see, hear, and observe, was really telling, and again, reinforced to me how powerful and important this support is, because there can be a huge discrepancy between what I'm feeling and what is showing on the outside. And that discrepancy can have huge implications for whether someone even thinks that I'm in need of support at the time. So that was really powerful. And we've posted this support so you can read through some of the other terms and words that I've used here to describe what I feel or experience and how I think it looks to others. Again, I tried to focus on a range. I tried to think about how does that energy feel inside of me? Do I have any thought processes at the time? If so, what are they? And anything else that I might experience. For example, in this sleepy and still state, I wrote here that I have a much higher sensitivity to sound, light, social interaction. I'm far less tolerant of doing things that are not preferred at that time. And I noted here too that if I look sleepy or still, I may actually be in that maxed out shutdown state that I talked about above. So anything that applies to you, you can put here. And that's what's really powerful about this support. I want to give a few other final thoughts here because I think these are important and could help people in thinking about this support. If you're filling this out for someone who is young, someone who maybe can't provide a lot of input into it at the time, just make sure you think about development. I mean, this is going to change over time. Uh, if I filled this out or someone filled this out for me as a child, it would have some similarities, but it would also look different in many senses. For example, on mine, you'll see that I put smiling, smiling, smiling for almost every state. That's what I do when I'm experiencing intense energy or emotional responses. It happens when I am extremely overwhelmed in any way. So I will smile at a funeral. I will smile if you tell me someone is being oppressed or wronged in some way. And it's my expression of an extreme emotion. It's not because I think those things are funny. But when I was younger, that wasn't the case. That's something that developed along the way, I think, to deter people from asking me what is wrong or trying to get me to explain when I am feeling other intense emotions. So you have to look at this over time. You have to update it, especially for younger children. They develop very quickly. For an adult, it'll be more stable. And then finally, I wanted to note that this could be specific to an environment, and this is particularly true for young girls. This could look very different at home and in school. We know anecdotally and through research that young girls, young autistic girls, might really suppress everything and hold everything in during the school day, and then at home totally let it all out. So if I was experiencing an intense state of arousal at school, it would look very suppressed. I might be smiling, I might be going along with everything. I would be doing my very best to hide that in all ways. At home, if I'm experiencing it, I might be throwing furniture and lashing out at a sibling or a parent. So just noting some of those nuances or having two separate sheets, something to think about in that situation. So feel free to check out my version of my energy and what I have written in here. Let me know in the comments if you have questions, and if you filled it out for yourself or for an autistic individual in your life and you've used it. We're very interested in knowing how it's working for you, and any other questions or concerns or suggestions or feedback you have for this support.